workshop. So we want to know the reason why for the choice of this topic. So basically, leadership as a concept, it's a topic that is very, very central to what we do as human beings and as organizations. So I'm having a bit of a technical issue for my hand here. My screen just went off.
What happened again?
I don't know. I'm having technical issue with my screen. In fact, I had to change my laptop. The other
I
one
hope
just shut down.
that nobody has hijacked your again.
Let's see. It's a thing.
Let me just check that we don't have any foreign person again. So let's check that we don't have anybody foreign. All the people here are FAJIM scholars, as far as I know. It's unfortunate, and there is one of the new people that was part of that joined us earlier on.
Let me see. Yes, I don't know why it's okay. Let me try again. I think.
Is it possible for you to send to me and I share for you? Or what's happening? Okay, maybe internet. Oh, no, she's on. Yeah, you are sharing already. Let me see. I'll download the one you just sent.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Can you see the slides now?
Yes.
And
Is your screen?
okay, good. Now let's move ahead. So yeah, just trying to get a background for this topic. Why the choice of this topic? Why has FAJIM Medicare Foundation invested in this topic? And why has FAJIM Care enlisted Cora Peer Consults to come and deliver this presentation, and has taken the time and resources to invite even youth FAJIM scholars to be part of this presentation today. So basically, the reasons are not far-fetched. This is because the concept of effective leadership is very crucial to a successful personal life as well as organization's growth and development. And why is this so? Because in today's world, we need leaders who have mastered the art of personal effectiveness and have been groomed to respond strategically, develop values, influence appropriately, mobilize resources, and reward people for sustained goal achievements. The most important reason why this topic is very, very important is because of our dear country, Nigeria. Nigeria as a country, especially with the issues we are having now, we need future leaders that will build strong institutions, that will manage resources effectively, draw on commendable practices, add values to people's lives, and continuously improve performances in our various sectors in this 21st century and beyond. So those are basically the reason why the choice of this topic. So the content of this course has been designed to give you the basic knowledge about leadership, introduce you to some certain skills, and inspire your mind to be the best version of yourself. So I said earlier on that this presentation of today has been divided into 3 sessions. So let's go into session 1 for today now. Basically, in this session, we are going to be looking at the following subtopics. We are going to be looking at some definitions of leadership and the theoretical basis for them. And somebody earlier on was telling me that leadership is about management. We are going to see if it's the same. Because as you see, there's a distinction between leadership and management. Then we are going to look at leadership roles and responsibilities. So that is for this session 1. But before going ahead, I would like to get some volunteers to give me some definitions of leadership. Can I have some volunteers, please? Definitions of leadership. I told you. Oh, Oluseyi Oladeji can't see the screen. Can you do something about that for us, please? And add Oluseyi Oladeji. I don't know why he's not seeing the screen. Okay, you can see it now. Please, can I have some volunteers? Can I have volunteers to give us your own definition? I want to feel the force. I want to feel you. I want to assess your knowledge of leadership. What do you know about definition of leadership? Can I have some volunteers before going ahead to give the definition of leadership? Okay, Mujib said leadership is the ability to direct a set of people towards achieving a certain goal. Very good. That's a nice one. That's good. Now let's see the definition of leadership. So for this session today, we are going to look at 4 definitions. And these 4 definitions have so many things in common. They have some things in common, some certain words in common that runs across these 4 definitions. And I want you to take note of them. The first definition here is by Swishem and Co. in the book Leadership Theory, some implication for managers. They define that leadership as the process by which the leaders seek the voluntary participation of followers in an effort to reach organizational objectives. According to Davis in his book Human Relations at Work, leadership is the ability to persuade others to seek defined objectives and to seek enthusiastically. It is the human factor. I want you to underline that. The human factor which binds a group together and motivates it towards goals. McKinsey and Company define leadership as a set of behavior used to help people align their collective direction, to execute strategic plans, and to continually renew an organization. Finally, the definition from business jargon is what we are going to use to cap all this definition. That leadership is the process of channelizing the energy of an individual or a group towards the realization of specific goal, objective, and vision. And so I just want another volunteer because I told you this is a workshop. It's not a lecture. So it's going to be 2 ways. I want to benefit from your knowledge as well. So can I have a volunteer to just highlight the key words that run across these 4 definitions? And you can unmute yourself if you are volunteering. Don't see anybody volunteering here. Can I call on Mujib? Mujib, please can you just tell us the key words in these 4 definitions? Unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. So the keyword in all of them is group and then objective and goals.
You need to unmute yourself. Okay.
Any other volunteer?
Okay. Someone has put something on the chat.
Okay, Olaiwola Abidemi, all 4 definitions tend to bring out something in an individual to serve. Very nice one. I really like this one. Very nice. Bravo. That is awesome. That is really awesome. I can see that here we have brilliant people around us here and potential future leaders. That's a nice one. So moving on, let's now look at theories of leadership. Just trying to prepare the ground. So these theories of leadership are basically a form of explanation about what leadership is all about. Because in the last centuries, many theories of leadership has evolved to explain what really makes up a leader. We have the great man and trait theory. I hope you can still see my
Yeah.
screen. Okay. the behavioral theory, contingency theory, charismatic theory, transactional leadership theory, transformational leadership theory. These theory are basically an explanation of how leadership comes to be. This great man theory and trait theory, they are basically the same. They have the belief that leaders are born. That is, before you can be a leader, it must be in your gene. Whereas the behavior theory is an opposite of the great man and trait theory, which says that everybody has the spark of leadership in them, that you don't have to be born, that leaders are not born, that leaders can be made, that you can learn how to be a leader. And that is the school of thought that I belong to. And that is the focus of my presentation today. All the other theory, contingency theory, charismatic transactional theory, are just explaining leadership style. Like contingency theory is just that leadership can be situational. It's the situation that will determine the type of leadership style that you are going to employ. Transactional leadership is about leadership of reward and punishment, which is very common in the formal setting, whereby you have the boss. A boss too is a leader. But now you are going to see, as we are moving forward, that there's a distinction between being a boss, being a manager, and a leader. And then we have transformational leadership theory. This theory is basically talking about how leaders can be a mentor and coach to their followers. So all these stories is just talking about is just to give us more information about what leadership is all about. Now, let's try and move forward. Now, because earlier on, somebody was given a definition that resembles management. But though leadership and management have a lot in common, but they are not the same. No, they are intertwined. One feeds one another. To be a good manager, you have to be a good leader. And to be a good leader, you usually have to be a good manager. So they are like two sides of a coin or two sides of a bicycle wheel. You can liken it to soft skill and hard skill, technical skill and soft skill. Technical skill is about the management, whereas the soft skill is the human factor, is the leadership part of the equation. Although some people, just like I noticed earlier, that one of you was trying to say leadership is the same thing as management. Although some people tend to use the two terms interchangeably, but they are not the same. And one of Warren Bennis, a leadership expert, summarizes the distinction between leadership and management as follows. That is, the difference between manager and leaders are very fundamental. The manager administers, the leader innovates. The manager maintains. I want you to look at the adjectives very well. The leader develops. The manager relies on system. The leader relies on people. The manager counts on control. The leader counts on trust. The manager does things right. The leader does the right thing. Now, having done the distinction between leadership and management, I hope you get the clarity about what leadership really is. To get more clarity now, we are going to discuss about the nature and essence of leadership. There's this tendency for us to always think that leadership is about being in control. And when we talk of leaders, we visualize a larger than life individual in charge of some thinking, complaint or conflict. Just like Nuseba said earlier on, that leadership is about influence. Because it's not only when you are in charge of people that you're a leader, but if your actions have great influence on others, you can be regarded as a leader. For instance, we have what we call the green leadership. Green leadership, bottom-up leadership, and thought leadership. What green leadership is all about is those influencers. As youth, you are aware that there are some people that you call social influencers. Is that not? Can I have a response to that? Either in the chat box. Influencers, social influencers,
Yes,
they are
ma'am.
kind of leaders too. Yes. We have these three leadership influencers too. Of recent, in Dubai, as the nations of the world converge in Dubai for the COP28 on climate change. And so we have some people that are so that are so focused on how to keep the environment safe. And they are influencing people around with their ideas. Apart from that, even in your class, in your faculty, you have some people that have ideas that they want to sell across that can make impact on the life of people in the faculty. That is a form of leadership as well. Wherever there's influence, there's leadership. In essence, leadership, majorly the nature and essence of leadership is to promote new directions by advocating better ways of doing things. And this work through influence, not by making decisions for people. So even if you're a manager in a group setting, you might not be able to carry people along or let them buy into your idea if you don't know how to influence properly. So if there's one thing you are going to take away from today's workshop, is that leadership is more about influence. It's not about forcing people to your way of thinking. It's about winning people over to buy into your idea. Now, having said that now about the nature and essence of leadership, let's now look at leadership. At this stage, again, I would like some volunteer. I know some of you have been in leadership role in your faculty in school or when you're in secondary school. Just give me some example of leadership roles that you've been in or example of leaders in the society so that I know that we are on the same page with the definition of leadership and the role they play in society. I don't want to be a radio.
Hello, ma.
Okay, hello.
I want to get your question very well, ma. Like you said, we should give examples.
Yeah, of leadership roles. Starting with the example of a leadership role you have played in the past, and couple it with another example of a leader in the society.
Okay, my personal example. Okay, I was the head boy of my set in the secondary school, so I would count that as a form of leadership. And also, concerning giving an example in the society, I would give the example of the chairperson of FAJIM Medicare Foundation, who coordinated this event. Thank you, ma.
Okay, what kind of leadership skill can you see in her coordination for this event as a leader?
Okay, yes. She's
coordinating. That is part of leadership role.
Yes.
Apart from that,
maximizing the potentials of youths As
Very
I
good.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, bringing out the best in you. That is good because I want you to be able to relate to that. So, as you said, and that is what I have on my slide there, a leader is someone who is in charge of organizing. Please underline that. I hope you are jotting it down. Guiding and managing others. That is a definition of a leader. But apart from that, they are visionaries who motivate and encourage their team members to reach their desired outcome, just like the earlier speaker has mentioned the example of the Professor Fatima Abdulkarim of FAJIM Medicare Foundation. So, understanding what leadership is very essential for your success if duty call for you to lead others. Because the reason why this seminar, this workshop has been together is to groom you so that you can ultimately fit into a position of an effective leader in the nearest future as FAJIM scholars. So leadership role is one way you are responsible to manage a situation. So when you're in leadership, you are going to manage a situation. There could be crisis. You will be required to manage a team or an entire organization ethically and effectively. So examples of such roles are coaching, networking, communicating, delegating, strategizing, role modeling, and motivating. So as a result of this role, we are going to be having this kind of responsibility, especially in a group setting. That is, as a leader, you'll be involved in having a vision, setting goals, and taking initiative. Influencing, organizing, motivating, and directing team members. You know, I'm trying to, from the role, we are moving to the responsibility. They are kind of overlapping each other. Knowing the role that this is what you are going to be doing, and performing it is another thing entirely. So the leadership responsibility also involves coaching, mentoring, and delegating. So now we are going to have our first class activity for today. And that is for us to assess our leadership potential. As I said earlier on, all of us, we have the spark of leadership in us. Whether as students, whether as business people, whether we are in government or in non-profit volunteer, just like Professor Fatima Abdulkarim. The challenge is that we just have to understand ourselves well enough to discover how we can use our leadership gifts to serve others. So unlike the great man theory that said that you have to be born to be a leader, you do not have to be born with specific characteristics of a leader. Or wait for someone to tap your shoulder or before you can lead an organization. You can start discovering your leadership potentials right now by answering the question on assessment of leadership process. And these are the questions in the next slide now. These questions are basically 6. So I want you to get your writing materials and try to jot down as I'm reading out the questions to you. And I want you to think carefully and be honest with yourself. So let's start with the number 1 question. As I said earlier on, and in our definition of the role and responsibility of leaders, one of the key things that you have to have as part in your PT, as part of ingredients to cook the soup of leadership, is that you must have vision. You must be driven by vision of where you want to take your group to. You want to take the organization to. You just don't want to be a leader. It's different from you being appointed as a school prefect. Now, this is called for a much higher responsibility now. So, the question you should be asking yourself now is that, are you driven by a vision of prioritizing the needs of other people ahead of your own? Do you believe in serving the greater good of all? I would like you to rate yourself on this, on the scale of 1 to 10. Either you are scoring 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Are you getting the briefing? If you are not getting it, please let me know in the chat box. Please let me know if you are getting what I have to do, or you need some clarification. Okay. You don't have to, okay, not in the chat box. Just get type it, or you are going to give me the brief later. I just want to know if you get my briefing of what you are going to do. Okay, I just want to know, do you get the instructions right? You get the instruction? Yes. Okay, Waisha Kirat. Okay, Dabilola. Okay, good. No, okay, now let's move ahead. Let's move to question number 2. Another question that you want to use is assessing your potential as a leader to be, is your integrity status. Do you honor your words? You say and honor your words. Rate yourself on integrity on a scale of 1 to 10. Now on question 3, as I told you earlier on, that being a leader requires higher standard. It's not for an average person. You have to be above par. You have to be the type that take initiative. You have to be very proactive. So to execute your vision and key priorities, are you focused, or do you get caught up in less urgent activities? Are you proactive? Please rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Then the next one is your growth mindset or innovation. Are you using your creative problem-solving skills and imagination to become an agent of change, especially in your faculty right now, especially in your co-curricular organization you belong to? So rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Number 5, are you delivering value and emotional impact to people's life around you? Or you are just a wallpaper, don't have any impact, you are not impactful on people's life. Apart then, closely following this is influence, which is the key attribute of a leader. Right now, assess yourself in your faculty, in your class, even at home, among your siblings as a person. How extensive is your influence? Do you get to know the people in your circle of influence? Do you get to understand their fears, their desires, their challenges and goals? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. After doing all this, you are going to add up the 6 scores you awarded yourself and divide by 6 to arrive at your leadership quotient. Then you can use this as a measure of your overall leadership ability. And so this course will also provide you with the basis for setting development goals. For example, you can make a pledge to yourself to raise the score in every category over the next 12 months. Now, I'm going to call on some people now to share their scores with us. I just want 2 volunteers because we still have a lot to cover, and we are really behind time, especially. Okay, if Abubakar, 10-10. Good. 10-10 on everything. Apart from Abdulakim Abubakar, can we have another person before we move ahead? What about Olaiwola? Okay, 7/10, Olaiwola Abidemi. Oluseyi Oladeji, 7. Good. So you all have the leadership potentials. That's a nice one. Congratulations to FAJIM Medical Care Foundation. You have aspiring leaders. Not on everything. Average, I have 8.5. Abdulakim Abubakar. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on. Let's now look at the foundation. The foundation for being an effective leader. Having access of leadership potential. To be an effective leader in a group setting, you have to have some basic foundation. You know, you can liken to the foundation to the way we build house. You know, if you want to build a house, you have to build a foundation. The foundation has to be very solid. It is structure that other things will be built on. Without a solid foundation, anything you are building on it will not stay. And that is why you have to get the foundation right. If you are preparing to be an effective leader in a group setting, beyond being appointed as a classroom leader or as a faculty executive, but a leader in the larger society, you have to prepare very well with these 2 things. And that is emotional intelligence and personal effectiveness. The foundation to become an effective leader in a group setting lies in having emotional intelligence and personal effectiveness. Now I'm going to define what emotional intelligence is. Emotional intelligence, according to the proponent of emotional intelligence, Dale Goldman, who defined emotional intelligence as the ability to manage both your own emotion and understand the emotion of the people around you. There are 5 key elements of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, social skill, and empathy. According to a behavioral psychologist, Stephen Covey, who wrote down the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he said there are 4 endowments that God has given to we human beings. These self-endowments are: number 1, self-awareness, creative imagination, independent will, and conscience. And these endowments give us the ability to choose, to respond, and to regulate ourselves. So when we are talking about emotional intelligence, which is very, very key, if you don't have emotional intelligence, if you don't know the kind of personality you have and know how to manage yourself, maximize your strengths, and mitigate your weaknesses, you can't be a good leader. You can't be on the road to being an effective leader. So before you can be an effective leader, you have to be able to know the kind of person you are. Are you a self-starter? Or Are you a person that is always procrastinating, always leaving things to the next, to the last minute? You have to know what kind of a personality are you? What kind of technical skills do you possess? And how do you manage yourself? So knowing all this is part of what you need in your kitty on your road to be an effective leader in a group setting. It is a well-known fact of life that no matter how competent a person is, you can never have sustained success unless you can effectively manage yourself. Because when you are talking about effective leadership in a group setting, you are talking of public victory. But before public victory, there has to be private victory. You have to be a man of yourself or a woman of yourself, a person of timber and caliber and caterpillar. I must put that before you can put yourself forward. Or if you are guilty cause you are nominated to become a leader, you have to be sure of yourself. So unless you can effectively lead yourself, then the ability to influence and engage others and continuously improve your capability, self-development as a person, you can't be on the road to effective leadership. Because these are elements that are at the heart of personal, team, and organizational effectiveness. What is personal effectiveness all about? It's all about getting the best out of yourself. It is an approach to success that involves utilizing all of your energy, skills, and motivation to reach the goal you set for yourself. Just like Ms. Evans said she did when she set a goal for herself to achieve some certain scores in her studies. So individuals with good personal effectiveness tend to constantly strive to achieve more and advance their career and grow in their personal lives. So what are these components of personal effectiveness? You have to be proactive. You have to have learning agility. You have to be disciplined. You have to be able to set goals for yourself. From now to January 2024, these are the things I'm going to do to improve myself personally. So, as I said earlier on, that setting goals, personal goals before group goals. Now, we are going to do an activity now on goal setting, which is one of the things we want you to learn here today, and which I hope that you transfer into your day-to-day life. Because learning to set goals and working towards them can help you feel better about yourself by giving you a sense of pride and accomplishment. I want you now to take time to reflect on where you want to be in the next 1 year. Write down what you would like to achieve in different areas of your life. Maybe your academics, your career, relationship, community, personal development, and even your spiritual life. And I want you to make your goals to be specific. Just don't generalize it and measurable, so that when you're assessing yourself, that how far have you gone with your goal, you can have your KPI. That is, okay, this is what you are using to measure it. Then, to achieve your goal, you have to develop an action plan. Then you set milestones along the way. For that, let's just take 30 seconds to do that. Because we are running behind schedule due to the fact that there was a disruption in the presentation earlier on. I know for us Muslims, the time for Maghrib is fast approaching. And I know some of us would like to go and pray. Okay, maybe I will just leave that for now and quickly run through other sessions. And maybe later we'll share all those things with ourselves. So now we move to the meat of today's presentation. That is how to be an effective leader in a good setting. Like I told you earlier on, to be an effective leader in a group setting is not a piece of cake. It's different from being an head boy. It's different from being a faculty representative or member of your faculty association. To be future Nigerian leaders, you have to raise the bar. You have to master some certain skills. And that is what this last session is all about. It will take time, and you need experience to develop into an effective leader. It will not happen overnight, but I bet you can definitely get there. With enough practice, help, and mental awareness, you can develop your own personal leadership style that will make you an effective leader in a group setting. So let me just share with you a model of leadership that was proposed by Kuz and Posner in their book, The Leadership Challenge. So you can use this model to develop your own personal leadership mission statement. The model consists of just 5 basic steps, but this step has 2 phases. The first step is that before you can be a leader, I told you earlier on that you have to challenge the process. You have to think out of the box. You are not just an everyday person. You have to have a vision, and then you search for opportunities. You just don't stay there for somebody to tap you in the back. Even as a FAJIM scholar, seek for opportunities. Seek for leadership opportunities. And then you experiment and take risks. If you don't do that, you can't be on the road to effective leadership. But most importantly, find a mentor in your field that will teach you how to be an effective leader, that you can learn the skills from, practical skills. Then as a leader, you must be able to have a buy-in into the collective vision of the group you are serving. Where are you taking your team members to? You have to have a vision beyond what is presently obtainable. And having attained that stage, you have to continue to enlist people to buy into your vision, to key in. You just don't stay there because you can't do it alone. And to be able to do that, you have to be a good communicator. And you have to, by being a good communicator, you have to learn how to collaborate with other people. And you have to learn to bring other people up. And the fourth list on the model of leadership is that you have to model the way. You have to set example, and you have to plan small wins. You take it in big size, 4 steps. And most importantly, because leadership is about the human factor, it's about influencing people. And you can't be influencing people if you are not being nice to them. You have to encourage the heart. You have to win people's hearts. You have to be nice to people. You have to be empathetical. You have to look towards intrinsic motivation, not something that not just for food only, just for what you can get there. For higher purposes, you have to be that kind of a person. And that will lead us to qualities of effective leadership, which is almost the same thing as the model of leadership. This quality and the model, these two combined together, are the things you should have in your toolkit, your tool bag, as somebody aspiring to be a leader in a group setting. So, in preparing yourself for the post of an effective leader, as I said earlier on, that you have to clarify your vision. Being a leader in your own right, personal effectiveness is personal leadership. It is from there that you transit to leadership. And it's about group leadership that FAJIM has commissioned me to talk to you about today. But because you can't have group leadership without personal, that is why I started from that. But one thing is that they overlap one another. If you are personally effective and you have emotional intelligence, you have the ability to be able to relate with other people, you're on your way to be a good and effective group leader. Just let me try and round up, and then we can come back to all these activities. So far in today's presentation, we've been able to debunk the popular myth that leaders are born, not made, and that to be an effective leader in a group setting is more about the ability to influence others in achieving a common kind of view is to be able to discover and harness your potential. Be inspired by your environment to make an importance. And you develop a vision of a destination for where you want to be as a leader and where you're taking your followers to. And you can do that by adopting the 6 C's of leadership, which is character, caring, competency, consistency, credibility, and communication. This will empower you to be effective and successful at leading a team. And with this, I would like to draw the curtain on my former presentation. And I would like to ask Professor Abdulkarim, thank you very much for listening. If we still have time to do these activities, or scholars will do these activities and post it to the group, and I can access it later on, because I know we really hit into Maghrib time for now. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge about what leadership is all about.
Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you very much. CEO Coral Consorts. Thank you for this elucidative lecture, which has not just been lecture, but interactive. Incidentally, in all universities now, NUC has directed that, mode of teaching, it should not be teacher-centered any longer. It should be student-centered. And that is the method that you have used for us today, to make it interactive, because there is always some form of knowledge, proud knowledge that, the participants always come with. So thank you very much.
Students are not empty vessels. That is what
they're not empty vessels.
Education balance.
Yes, they're not empty vessels. They have their own knowledge. And, knowledge is not just, it's not only the teacher that owns everything. So thank you very much for the inspiring lecture. You see, the problem with our scholars is they are always short of data. I'm sure I can see a lot of them have dropped off. Either data has finished or network issues. We started off with 30 something and now we're just 11. So, but the most important, is that we set out to do this, and in spite of the challenge that we had, we resolved that we were going to achieve it, and we thank God that we've been able to do this. So, because time has really gone far, I would like if there are 1 or 2 comments or questions from our scholars. So you quickly bring it up so that we can And those of you that are here, maybe we should, let's put on a video so we can take some shots. People who are able to put on their video, put on your video so we can take some shots. Is anyone there? Anyone else there? Okay, what's happening to my video?
I can see about 2 of them now. Olaiwola Abidemi and Rabi Sherifuddin.
This is dark now.
That.
All right. No other person is ready to put on his video. Okay, we just do a snapshot. All right, so anyone wants to say 1 or 2 things, maybe a question, so we can close. Bidemi, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Evening.
Okay, so I want to thank FAJIM for this wonderful spin, and then I want to thank the presenter too, because this has been like an eye opener, correcting some of the bad things that I once believed. So now I believe that you don't need to sit on that presidential seat in also before you rule Nigeria. Leadership is just by influence. You can be here and then you are.
Exactly.
Am I being heard, ma?
Yeah, you are very correct.
So we do not need to complain about our leaders that are just sitting on that seat, probably presidential seat or some other leadership around us. We can exert our influence. We can lead. We can rule right from the corner of our room. So I've learned that.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, ma.
Very good.
Yeah, you are really spot on that. We are all leaders. Whatever we do, we are all leaders.
Mm-hmm. All right, any other?
Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
Anyone more, and then we can go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Share.
Yes, ma. Mark, the difference between being influential and being persuasive. Like I've heard about persuasion, so like I want to know the difference, ma. Yeah.
Being
Thank
influential. Being influential is within the context of today's topic. Being influential is making people to buy into your idea, into your vision. Because when you have a vision or a new way of doing things, a group setting, you enlist other people's interests. That is called influence. Especially if you are working towards an organizational group. Persuasion is almost the same thing as influence. But persuasion is a lower form of it, in the sense that maybe you are trying to win. It's almost like influence at the same time, but I think they are basically the same. I'll say they are the same. Persuading is more that you are trying to win somebody to your side of your side, and influencing is like you are trying to win somebody to your side too. So you are persuading is a form of influence as well. It's a form of influence. I would say it's a form of influence. Persuading is a form of influence. Influence is an umbrella. Persuading is just
the umbrella. One way of doing it.
You can use force too, at times.
Or coerce people.
Yeah, coerce.
You know.
Exactly.
But then being persuasive is better.
Exactly.
You'll be more successful in influencing people if you are. But sometimes, persuasion may not help. It depends on
Exactly.
situation.
The situation.
You know.
Exactly. And that is why,
Sometimes,
and
it
that's why
may
I say
not.
influence is more of the umbrella.
Yeah.
So influence can come in different forms. It can come through persuasion. Persuasion is just one of the methods of influence.
Sometimes as a parent, you may need to use the two. Sometimes you are persuasive, sometimes you have to use your veto.
Exactly.
Even as a lecturer, students sometimes don't want to do anything that especially if there is no mark attached, if there is nothing attached to it, no one wants to do assignments. You understand? So sometimes you may need
Just
to
like American
change
influence.
methodology.
Influence in world politics in the United Nations now. Look at what they are doing with the Palestine and the Gaza, the American influence behind them, yeah. And in the same UN too, the Palestinian representatives are using persuasion as a form of influence.
All right, so
Thank you, ma'am.
what is left is to thank you very much. You thank the scholars that have been patient and they persevere to the end, to stay to the end of the lecture, and then we thank the lecturer as well. We pray that your Choral Pearl consort will continue to prosper, and that you also prosper. We'll continue to remember this for a long time to come. Thank you very much. We know we cannot pay for your professionalism and everything that you have put. We know, I can see you have really put a lot into this, but we are sure that, be sure that yes, that we do really appreciate. Thank you very much.
But I would like the scholars on their own, when you share the slides with them, to interact with the class activities and maybe try and yeah, because we didn't have the opportunity to do it because we are pressed for time.
Okay. All right.
I want us to
I will encourage them to do that and then give you feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be part of the mentoring program for FAJIM Medicare scholars. I'm highly honored.
Thank you very much. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So expecting to see you guys on next Saturday. Bye-bye.